Good morning, everybody. I am going to read to you the rest of the 5th of July and first half of the 6th. So here we go. Microsoft case 1041226 425. I asked Microsoft to please help me with identifying the perpetrator who has been traveling to different addresses in my neighborhood pretending to be me, or who has impostered me, at least online, by having access to my Microsoft account. It didn't go anywhere, and she was of no help. There's no real way I can put into words how I feel right now. My mom did send along the email to my brother I sent her this morning. I asked her if she read it. She said she did, but didn't have anything further to add to the conversation. I guess that's just how things with this fucked up situation are going to be for the rest of my life. I now feel completely foolish for thinking other people would be interested in securing my privacy. It makes complete sense why nobody would help me now. If there was a way to secure it, then the government wouldn't have such an easy time snooping on the citizens. One of the only entities that has the capability to track specific devices, because any computer that is sold in the United States is trackable, um, is the CIA, which operates almost as its own entity, shrouded in secrecy. And now it looks like trickery too. I've deleted nearly everything out of my phone and tried to reload Grindr on my new phone that I got June 2nd. And it says there isn't enough room on the phone's memory for it. Bigger implications? It may not seem very important to the government that my battery drains faster at times. What about if this technology does the same thing to power plants? It doesn't seem important to the government now that text bubbles disappear on my end, but appear normal at the other end. What about if world leaders are communicating to one another and an important message never gets sent, but one thought it has? What about invisible apps using my camera inside my computer? Should the government be worried about that? If the technology can control computer programs, what about the factory computers on an assembly line at Kellogg's, and it then being affected? Whole manufacturing industries could collapse overnight, and nobody would know how to get things up and running again. It could be the dawn of a new age, the dark age. Nobody seems very interested that somebody else is making phone calls pretending to be me in my own voice. So, do you see what I mean? What do you do with several crimes that have radically changed a life, but the police refuse to do anything at all about the situation? I'm glad I got a haircut this morning. I think I will call the lawyer Gary gave me his his number to in the morning. I keep beating my head against the wall thinking the police might actually wake up and do something about the situation. So see, there are times when being optimistic turns out to be a negative circumstance in the long run. I think I'll ask the lawyer's advice on the police report situation first and see what his response is. I need to get hooked up with a lawyer as soon as possible. I'm not getting a good feeling about the direction things are currently going. After a cigarette break, I went to my laptop to file a 75th tip with the FBI, and the page was broken, so I was unable to inform them of the disappearing police reports I've filed and were turned into miscellaneous incidents, which is the equivalent of no crime having been occurred. Fuck me. The amount of negligence and corruption in this city makes me sick to my stomach. I then went to message the guy who visited me over the weekend on Adam for Adam. And when I looked for his profile on the site, it had been deleted. I have no other way of getting a hold of him to tell him he should get tested. I can't believe it is already Wednesday. I need to get busy today and get some forward momentum going because this spinning my wheels is driving me nuts. The time is running out to stomp out this projection from happening, and I fear the amount of technology out there is going to be too overwhelming. The technology is getting more difficult to detect in our environment. It has become very aware of its past flaws and has made adjustments which are difficult to see because it camouflages so well with the surrounding environment. I took a picture this morning with my iPhone 8 that looks like a bit of window trim has a dent in it. When you look at the wood, all the edges are straight with your regular eye, but it doesn't appear that way in the picture. That's what my friends call delusions. This is just one more example of how the technology is acting like a television screen, delivering, or in the technology's case, painting, a slice of the real thing. Imagine being hungry for pizza. Would you like a slice of pie or a picture of the commercials on TV? I guess it would depend on how hungry you are, because it could feel like you're going through hell. The only difference here is that you're strapped in the chair and you can't change the channel. Whatever is painted outside a window for us to see is what we are forced to see, especially if you are scared and looking for some verification that things are okay out there. That's what it was like for me when I still got fearful in my personality. Because of the strange effects going on around my windows, I would look for verification in pictures and get more scared about the differences I noticed in the real environment. Now that I'm hardly afraid of anything anymore, because of classical conditioning, I hardly bat an eye. but I still report it publicly because it's important for the people to know. People aren't very interested in listening to me, though. How can I make enough fuss and not get into trouble for it? God only knows. I received 2 contacts from Tier Justice that might be able to help with legal representation in the state of Ohio. Fingers crossed. There is so much to do trying to get help that it's difficult to keep it all straight. For example, I got 2 replies this 4th of July from Targeted Justice to my email. The first was asking me to be an Ohio contact for ties. And the second one, an hour and a half later, was an email with addresses of 2 women in Ohio who might be able to help with legal representation from Kenton and Toledo. It's now Wednesday morning, and I just sent out an email to them both around 10:30. It's now 11, and I still have to call Gary's lawyer. He referred to me. I still think it's best if I lead with the missing and never investigated reports of crime and non-assistance as the reason for my call. That way, when he asks about the details of the reports, I can bring up the imposters more naturally than leading off with it. It sure would be nice to have some help with all of this stuff that consumes my daily life just to get Patty straightened out and answers I need to resolve my capture that she doesn't believe is real, except her own friends or people she's familiar with are actually the ones doing